We're Danny and Kate, and this is Paco. We recently bought 12 acres of land in the Spanish mountains. Follow the journey as two DIY novices with tons of enthusiasm but not quite as much know-how. Renovate a small stone barn into the tiny house of our dreams and bring the land back into full production. But first, before we rip the roof off our brand new home, we need somewhere to stay. Welcome to the Cabin Build series. Welcome back to another video at Smithsdale Farm. We're on the way down the mountain today. We didn't get quite off to the best start yesterday. It took us over 4 hours to get down to the land. Unfortunately, there were a couple of crashes along the way. There was a deer in the road, there was all sorts of things going on. So we're hoping that that's not the sign of things to come, because we've got a really exciting weekend ahead. It's actually a bank holiday, so we've got 3 full days on the land and we're going to start building the cabin. So we're super excited to get going. We're off down into town today to go and look at some suppliers. We're going to go and look at different materials, things like that, and bring back some of the stuff to actually start the first part of the build, which is going to be the base layer. Before we jump into the video, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to all of our new subscribers. We're almost at 2,000 already. So thank you to everybody who's already watching along, commenting along on our videos, asking us questions. We really feel like we're starting to build a bit of a community with these videos, and that's really fantastic and more than we would have hoped for. So thank you so much to everybody that's following along, and if you're not already, then consider hitting that subscribe button. So there are quite a few shops that we want to go into, but first, coffee. One of the first places that we wanted to come to is this like agricultural cooperative that they've got in town. They have all sorts of things in here, so there's plant starts, they've got chicken equipment and feed, and like wood chips and all sorts of stuff. They've got machinery. They've also got kind of boards of information of like people who are selling like trailers or cubos or like the big water containers and all sorts of things like that. So super interesting place to come to, and it might not be helpful for us straight away, but definitely in the future. They even have this really big warehouse that's got like sand and hay and compost and all sorts of things. So yeah, this could be a super useful place for us to know where it is and what they've got. But it kind of seems like they've got a little bit of everything, to be honest. It's generally just agricultural supplies. So that was a great little shop. There's all sorts of things in there, all sorts of goodies. I think probably our future orchard is in there. There were all sorts of amazing trees, everything that we want. Also loads of nut trees as well, like walnuts and almonds, and then tons of fruit trees. So there's a citrus, limes, things like lemons and oranges, peaches, pears, apples, like everything you can think of really. So loads and loads of really good stuff for the future, which is exciting. And when we're able to get to those type of projects, that will be amazing. But obviously we need to focus on a couple of things first to actually be able to get to the land and look after all of those types of plants. But yeah, super nice to see that they've got a big variety and lots of different varieties of each species as well. So you don't just have to have one type of apple, there are several and all that kind of thing for pollination and all of that. So yeah, really exciting, great shop. Now we're just on the way to the next one. We've come down to one of the ferreterias that we come to quite regularly. Basically it's like a hardware store. and we're coming to look for a couple of different things. We need to pick up a few kind of bits for the tools, so we bought some new tools and we need to get a few pieces for those, like little blades and things. And we also need to look at getting some of the wood for the cabin. So we're going to look at getting a delivery and having that taken to the land and then being able to use that up on there. We actually just learned that they have this huge bit out of the back that's like a warehouse, where normally they just come and collect the things when you ask for them. But he just brought us back so that we could have a look because we wanted a wheelbarrow, and they said that they had one here in the back. So it's interesting to see what stuff they have here because they don't have it out on the shop floor. So it's kind of good to learn like which shops have which things so that we know where to come to when we need certain things, so that we're not wasting time going from shop to shop to shop every time we come down. Last stop on the list is this amazing garden centre. It looks beautiful. We've driven past it quite a few times when we've been coming up and down from Barcelona and coming into Tortosa to go up to the mountain. And yeah, it always looks beautiful, full of colour, full of life. I think they've got a big nursery at the back. So we thought we'd come and check it out whilst it's still open today and just have a look what they've got. One final stop before we head back up the mountain to get something very important.
So we've just got back to the land, having spent the day driving around the area, looking at different things. Today we followed up on some recommendations made by people on Facebook and other groups like this about what shops we should go visit in the local area. And they were actually very good recommendations. We went to a shop that was selling petrol-powered equipment. The guy inside was really friendly, really nice. And obviously they've got good equipment that we will go back and look at. And then we also went to an agricultural cooperative that has things like chicken feed and plants and trees and all this sort of thing. And our neighbours have told us that the agricultural cooperative actually sells all the products made and produced locally. So you've got your local meat, you've got your local vegetables, and then you've also got the fishmongers also get their fish from the sea just off the coast where we are. And we also have an update on the Leroy Milan Strimmer story, which we'll get back to you with that tomorrow, I think.
Good morning, it's day 2 on the land. So we've actually woken up to grey skies and a little bit of rain. It wasn't forecast, so it's a little bit annoying because there are lots of things that we wanted to get on with along the Bancal, but we're going to put those off until this afternoon. We think it's going to clear up by then, and instead we're going to just kind of work on the design of the cabin base and work out like where the footings need to go and things like that so that we can get on with them when the weather clears up. So what we've been doing is just drawing out exactly what this kind of cabin footprint is going to look like. So this is the base frame. Essentially what we've got is 2 long beams down either side. So these are 3.9 meters. We're then going to cut one of these in half to create the top and the bottom piece. And then the 4.5 centimeters width is going to sit on the outside of that to make it slightly wider. So that makes it, it's actually 204, I believe, in total. Essentially then what we have here is a 48 centimeter gap before putting each of these cross beams. And there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cross beams in total through the midsection of this frame. And then basically what we're going to do is put 6 kind of supports underneath this. So this is where we're actually going to be putting the it's not really foundations because they aren't secured into the ground, but basically we are kind of setting breeze blocks so that we can put this frame on top of that. So we're just kind of sketching out all of these bits and working out these measurements so that we know where to start putting the markers and where to start putting these kind of footing holes so that we know where to place these breeze blocks before we start to construct the frame. So we've been blocking out where we're going to put the footers. We're not actually going to be making foundations as such, because this is going to be like a temporary building. So essentially what we've done is marked out just roughly with sticks where we're going to have each of the footers, and then we're kind of blocking around where we're going to fill with gravel and then put the breeze blocks to then support the building itself. So you can see here we've just kind of marked out the area more or less to the depth that it needs to be. We're measuring with a spirit level both this way and against the slope that way. And what we're actually going to do is have one breeze block across this back level where it's a lot higher, and where it's sloped down we're actually going to use 2 breeze blocks, which means that we need to dig further down on that level, but it means that then we can kind of raise the whole thing so that it's level as a whole. So we've just got a couple more to do before we start to fill in with gravel, and then next time that we're down we'll be ready to set the breeze blocks and then start on the actual base layer when the materials get delivered. We went down to the ferreteria in Tortosa and we ordered the wood that's going to make the frame, and we should be able to get that together relatively easily. It's a pretty simple frame structure, so hopefully it won't take too long, but you know how it goes with these things, you always underestimate the time that it's going to take, so we'll see. But pretty good progress so far.
So out on an evening walk after a day working, and we thought we'd update you on the Leroy Milan Strimmer saga. So we went down again after, I think it's been 4 weeks since we were last here, and they've not contacted me since that point of dropping off the Strimmer. So we dropped off the Strimmer and the guy said in 2 days they'd contact us. We waited 5 days and went back down to the shop, and they were like, no, for sure, not 2 days, 2 weeks. And so, okay, 2 weeks, because it's got to go to Madrid and it's got to come back, and we were like, yeah, okay, it makes sense that, you know, including travel time, 2 weeks. And then we went back today, which is about 5 weeks, still haven't had a phone call from anyone. And the person in the shop then told us no, it can be up to 2 months. Monday is a bank holiday, so they're going to phone Tuesday, and they said they'll phone me Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday, about what's going to happen with the Strimmer. I said, look, we're really looking for a refund now, because it's been 6 months without the Strimmer and without the money, and it's a bit ridiculous really. So we'll see what they come back with. In the meantime, we've been looking at a few shops locally to see what we can do about getting a higher quality Strimmer, either from a local shop or one of the local distributors that sell the Hexwana or the Still kind of Strimmers. So we'll keep you updated, and cross your fingers for us.
Good morning, waking up to day 3 on the land. I thought I'd just take the opportunity whilst I was making our morning drinks before we go for a walk with Paco to show you our new kitchen setup. We had a bit of an upgrade because we were finding it a bit difficult with just the one camping stove that we had before. So let me show you what we've got now. So rather than using those tiny canisters all the time, we've now got this 8.2 kilogram canister, which is obviously full of gas and is not refillable, but what you can do is take this one back and exchange it for one which is full. So you sign up to a system where you buy one of these canisters, you take it full, and then when you've used it you return it back to, actually it's the petrol station where you get it refilled. They take these ones and fill them back up, but actually sell you a brand new one. And that's just connected via a gas pipe. It's got this valve here so that you can have the gas closed or you can have the gas open. The wire goes just behind here and connects to our new little gas stove. So we've got 2 burners, which is great because it means that we can make tea and coffee all at the same time. Amazing.
We just did a little calculation based on how much the gas in here costs compared to the gas in the larger cylinder. Gram for gram, this stuff's about 3 times the price. So if we had 8.2 litres of gas from these canisters, it would cost us around 65 euros. And to refill or get a new one of the 8.2 kilos canisters, just for the gas, is 20 euros. So 3 times the price when you buy it in small little canisters. And much more waste as well that you have to somehow get rid of.
seems like every time we come on a walk, we find somewhere even more beautiful than the last time that we came. I don't know if you can make out on the camera, but there's actually a wind farm just behind us. It's funny because a lot of people seem to have issues with like solar farms and wind farms being put onto this kind of land. But to be honest, I don't think they detract from the landscape at all. I think they actually, you know, add to it and help with the regeneration of the community and the space. So to have wind farms and things like that, I think is a real asset in places like this, and particularly on this side of the mountain where it does get pretty windy. You've probably heard it in some of our videos in the background. It just makes sense, and for us it's going to be something that we do try to harness on the land. Obviously we'll be collecting the water and we'll be having solar systems and things like that, but definitely wind is something that could be very, very useful to us. So it's interesting to see that there are the kind of commercial versions of it like this on the mountain, but maybe we could have something like a small home system too.
So this morning's job is we're going to try and take down this tree here. It's a male carob tree, and we know you need male carob trees to fertilise the female ones that are around the property, but in the summer it had the yellow flowers and these flowers smelled terrible. So one, I don't want that smell next to the house, and then two, it's blocking a pathway that up onto the different bancals. So alongside here we have the path up to the cisterna, but then on the other side there's like a ramp that gives you access to all the different bancals. So I'm not quite sure why there's a tree like that there, or if it's just become too overgrown. Again, it's in the same situation as the olives. It's been chopped at the base and we've got a lot of side shoots coming up, so it's a case of taking all these off, and then maybe we'll keep one or we'll just take the whole thing down. We'll see as we get there.
Well, I have to say that the chainsaw made quite light work of that. We have bought a few new tools recently, and in our next video we'll share kind of which tools we've bought and why and all that kind of thing. But you'll see that we used a chainsaw on this one, a battery powered chainsaw, and it was fantastic. So lots more of that to come in the future, and yeah, you can see that it's really opened it up and we can now pass through this area here really easily. It's just really nice to be able to get on with projects like this, which with all of the hand tools and everything we're taking maybe an hour per tree, and this one was literally done within about 25 minutes. This is now looking really clear. We've already started on the footings for the cabin. We've got the wood coming in a couple of weeks' time. So yeah, keep following along. We hope you've really enjoyed this episode of our cabin build series, and we'll see you on the next one.